Hi, this is Lara at Elliott Wave Stock Market with a free Dow analysis for you for the New York trading session dated Tuesday 15th of February, just on the end of Tuesday the 15th for you. I'm going to have a look at my historic wave count on a monthly chart, my main wave count and my alternate before we go to the daily, because I think we're getting pretty close to a big trend change for the Dow. This is my main wave count, which has a 5-wave structure at supercycle degree, ending here with a cycle degree wave 5, thereafter a supercycle expanded flat correction with the 3 waves down for A, a corrective structure, a zigzag up for B, which reaches comfortably beyond the start of A. This is a 154% correction of A, which is an expanded flat, which usually calls for a C wave that ends substantially beyond the end of A. I don't think this was wave C over here. It doesn't look long enough for a C wave of an expanded flat, and it's far too brief in duration. So I expect this is just wave 1 of wave C at cycle degree. We're looking for the end of a second wave zigzag. When that's over, we'll have a third wave, which must take price beyond the end of 1, so we will see new lows for the Dow. Cycle wave A lasted a Fibonacci 3 years, wave B lasted a Fibonacci 5 years. If wave C takes the next Fibonacci number in the sequence lasting 8 years, it will end in October 2015. And if it is 2.618 the length of A, it's more likely to be that Fibonacci ratio than 1.618 when wave B is such a deep correction of A. If wave C is 2.618 the length of A, it will end at 2,278.84 points in 2015, so that's my long-term target. However, I have a problem with seeing this here as a third wave at intermediate degree here. It looks like a 3-wave structure. For that reason, I've developed this alternate, which sees the all-time high as the end of a 5-wave cycle degree wave, the end of a supercycle impulse ending here, and now we see this piece of movement down here is a zigzag, a 3-wave structure with an A, B, and within C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave A, the first wave down of this correction. I don't think that a correction for this long multi-decade rise was over in such a very brief amount of time, so this is probably just wave A. And we should be expecting a B wave, therefore, that reaches at least 90% the length of A, because that's a minimum requirement for a B wave of a flat correction. When wave A subdivides to a 3, we know we're looking at a flat correction, possibly a triangle, but I wouldn't be expecting a triangle to be such a very shallow correction of this very long rise, which has much lower lows further off to the left of the chart. So therefore I'd be expecting a flat correction in wave B to reach 90% the length of A, which is achieved at 13,425.3 points. So if upwards movement, and I am expecting at least another week of more upwards movement, if it manages to get up to this point, then this will be my main wave count. Importantly, if we're looking at a flat correction and we're only in the C wave of a zigzag of cycle degree wave B, then wave B can actually reach beyond the start of A, and the most common type of flat is an expanded flat where B is actually 105% the length of A, which would be achieved at 14,584.5 points, allowing a new high for the Dow. So that's an important implication, but we only need to concern ourselves really with that implication if we reach this minimum target on my alternate wave count here. So this is my main wave count, so taking you now to the daily chart where we're going to look at the last piece of movement for this C wave to end primary wave 2, where this 2 down here is this 2 down here. And the C wave is subdividing as a simple impulse. At minor degree we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we've got a long 5th wave, which is really taking its time to end this upwards movement. But we now have price touching the upper edge of this wide blue parallel channel that contains this C wave impulse, which is exactly where we should expect this 5th wave to end. I expect, looking at this structure on an hourly chart, that we've still got one more upwards wave to go, and it may very well be an extended wave, taking price into this target zone, now a little wider than last analysis, 12,454 to 12,519. For this main wave count, we should not expect to see new highs for the Dow. This wave count is validated with movement above 14,198.1 to a new high. When we see movement below the lower edge of this small narrow pink parallel channel that contains this 5th wave at minor degree impulse to the upside, then we'll have our first indication that we've had a trend change, but we're only going to have it confirmed at intermediate and therefore primary degree really when we see movement below the wide blue parallel channel here in the daily chart. In the first instance, I would expect that movement below this little pink channel, and especially movement below the end of wave 4 pink here, which is at 11,736, would give very, very strong indication of a trend change, because at that point it couldn't just be a second wave correction within this last piece of upwards movement, and therefore the last piece of upwards movement would have to be over. I wouldn't really want to put this fourth wave for pink or minute degree any lower down. I expect that this pretty good, strong, sizable downwards movement within this fifth wave was our fourth wave correction at minute degree. So that's going to be a pretty important price point in the next few weeks for the Dow. Taking you now to the hourly chart, where we're going to look at just this last little piece of movement. And within wave 5 pink we have a 1, 2, 3 green off to the left of the chart. Here's 4 green, and here's the start of wave 5 green. Within it we have orange 1, 2, 3, 4, and we need an orange fifth wave, and it's likely to be as long as this third wave, taking about a week. So we've got another week perhaps to go of further upwards movement for the Dow. In last analysis, I had a little short-term target for the end to this third wave at orange degree, 12,289 to 12,332, and it ended just 3 points in that target zone at 12,291. Thereafter, as expected, we have a fourth wave here at orange degree, so this was my main hourly wave count. I did, in last analysis, have an alternate which expected that we could possibly have had a high and we could possibly have been seeing a trend change for the Dow. At certain times along this upwards movement, every now and then we will have a point where we can have a satisfactory wave structure at all degrees of labelling, and at that point we'll have to use alternates, which expect we may have had a trend change, and use confirmation and invalidation points to work with those. When we saw a new high above this point, then that alternate wave count, expecting we had a high for the Dow, was invalidated, and at that point this is our main wave count, which is correct. So now we're expecting one more push to the upside, probably to be extended and probably to reach equality with wave 3 orange, because that would take price up to 12,454. At 12,479 now within this target zone, wave 5 blue, which we see on the daily chart, will reach equality with wave 3, and at 12,519 wave C black in its entirety, which we see there quite nicely on the monthly chart, will reach 0.618, the length of wave A black. So we've got a bit of a cluster of targets in this admittedly fairly wide target zone. As we get towards the end of this fifth wave, I'll hopefully be able to refine this a little for you in the probably next analysis. So it looks like we've probably got another week of upwards movement at least for the Dow. The end is getting closer, but it's not here yet. That's all for me today with your Dow analysis, and I hope that everyone else's trading is going well. If you would like daily analysis of the S&P 500, you will find it on my site.